the gravitational forces would pull the stars together?
Depending on how far away they are.
They wouldn't circle each other. They would only pull.
Yeah, that's true. So I was looking at, some of the rings. I'm like, man, that's pretty small. And one other thing that threw me off is she called them suns. And I'm like, we only call our star the sun. So that sort of threw me out a little bit.
I didn't like it either until I thought about it. Mm-hmm. So the only difference between a star and a sun is that a sun is a star. We don't believe there is life on planets around them. Okay. But our sun has in many shows, they use sun to mean a star with a living solar system.
Okay.
So the only thing I can think of is that those 8 suns that they bring together are suns. They're not stars. They have planets that float around them. Now, I would imagine that I'm not an astrobiologist or anything like that, or an astrophysicist, but I would imagine almost all stars have bodies circulating them, so they could all technically be considered suns, but whatever.
Yeah. So I like that octenary star system aspect. I thought it was very science-y of them.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was really cool too that they pointed out that it existed once in their charts, but it no longer exists. And there's a 7, but the gravitational forces for an 8 would be so ridiculous. And I mean, I didn't think we needed to go to 5 different hollows to get that answer, but we did.
Okay, can we talk about the 5 hollows?
Do we have to? Really?
Yes. Oh, it's
awful.
Gosh, it is so brilliant. I love it. And Rios. Okay, the actor.
The acting is great. However,
oh my gosh, yes.
So he hit self-copy.
Yes.
They apparently also, each of them copied some portions of his memory, but none of them talk like him. None of this makes sense.
No. So he, did the self, duplicating thing. But then they said that he went in and deleted specific things from each. So,
but he didn't. But yet they don't all know the same. They say it in the episode. It's 5 parts of his psyche, and that seems ridiculous. Not to mention they all talk different, which they never mentioned him going in and fixing that because he could have went and fixed their look since he claimed it was an accident to do in the first place. And he erased weird things like the temperature of tea, apparently. I don't know.
I know. Okay, so let's go
So I have a theory on
through.
the tea thing. I have a theory on the tea thing, though.
Okay.
I think the only reason why he deleted stupid things like the tea was because he wasn't accidentally, haphazardly deleting stuff. I think he was deleting all mentions of Beautiful Flower and Jana. Yeah, but he didn't want anyone to know that, so he just randomly deleted things. So when information was missing, it wasn't odd looking.
Right. Well, he had to do that to save the crew of the Ibn Majid.
Well, these things didn't exist then.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Because when he did that for La Serena. Yeah.
Right. He did it for the new ship.
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to go through because I made a list. So we have the medical. Did we ever know his name on the medical hologram?
I don't care what their names are.
Okay, well, I do, so you're going to have to bear with it. So we have the EMH, who we meet first, or it was the hospitality, I can't remember. So EMH is medical, ENH is navigation, and his name is Enoch. And then we have engineering, and I'm just making up initials, EEH, engineering, and his name is Ian. And then we have EHH, hospitality, which I don't know his name. And then we have ETH, and he's tactical, and that's Emmett. And he's sort of the slothy, slouching one. And I just think it's so fun. It's lighthearted. And the glimmer in their eye when they're thinking and, searching their database, I think that's a really nice touch. And the scene where they're like, I love the script writing when it's like a ghost of an answer. It's there, but it's not. And then when they all bunk on their head with their hand, oh my gosh, that totally made me laugh out loud.
Okay.
So there we have it.
Yeah, I got nothing for him. I just don't.
Okay.
But the only thing I like about it is that we know there's 5 and we're not getting 12 and 13 and 14 of these things.
Okay, so we have met all 5. All 5
Yes.
in one room. And Raffi doing this amazing trying to put pieces together. And then we get this amazing scene in the mess hall, the eating place, of finally putting things together and bringing everyone's information together. I loved that scene as well.
Yeah, it was
because
good.
Raffi she finally was justified when it was like, okay, the Romulans were the cause in the attack of Mars. And she's like, sound familiar? I was like, you go, girl.
She's my favorite character, so I was very happy to see her justified in all this. But we knew she was going to be, right? Like, as the viewer, we kind of knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that Commodore O is half Romulan, half Vulcan.
Right.
So they call that out in this episode. She's not.
Well, and again, we
Vulcan.
sort of knew that because she was able to do, when she did My Mind to Your Mind with
Well, I thought she was just Vulcan. Just because you're working with Romulans doesn't make you a Romulan.
Yeah.
She's part of Starfleet. But they do point out that she didn't, which I like, she did not betray trusts late in her career. She wasn't flipped. She was put in from the very beginning as a mole.
Yes.
So her whole career in Starfleet was designed for this moment.
Yeah.
They also call out that they're starting at Mars, and they give us a date of 14 years earlier. So we're starting to get time frames of when things happened according to the show and when we are sitting right now, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Like last episode, we got the more of the mind meld scene, right, as the prequel, and it told us 3 weeks. So now we know from that episode, which was episode 4 or something, right? I think to episode 7, only 3 weeks have passed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. And we finally get me being right that the synths did not act on their own, that it was the Romulans behind the attack on Mars.
Yeah, it's such a cheesy, stupid answer. But yeah, you were right.
I was like, aha!
Yeah, awful answer.
Why?
It's a cop-out.
No.
Yes.
The Romulans are behind it all.
Great, exactly. Whatever.
They're the villains.
Right, that's the problem. There you go. There's your problem. You just said it.
Zhat Vash, because
Right,
not
the Romulans.
all Romulans. So I think it is a little bit more complex now.
Great. It's
We're
still
getting
a
these
cop-out.
extremists.
I want to see the synths be the villains because people are now being racist towards synths for no reason. And they have really no reason. But instead, if some of them decide to act on their own, you could start to understand their point of view a little more, even though they're extremely wrong. And it takes the story of radicalization of a population and puts it into better perspective. However, now they really had nothing to do with it, so your hatred for them is really stupid. You've lost a massive amount of talking points by making this the Romulans. We've always hated Romulans, so who cares if it was the Romulans? Great, it's people we already hated.
But no, we were getting to the point where we were saving them. We were trusting them. We were bringing them on board.
Everyone keeps saying that. That drives me crazy. We were
Why?
saving them. We were not trusting them. We were saving an enemy. That does not mean we were becoming buddy-buddy with them.
Well, I think Picard was building that relationship and
That's
building
one
that
guy in
bridge.
how many people in Starfleet?
It just takes one, Pat.
Oh, please. That's just not how real life works. You see how fast that went? The only part of that that's real life is he went, you keep helping him or I'm quitting. See you later.
So what do you think about Soji and the discussion that she had with Picard?
Okay, thank you. I needed more specificity there. You're talking about the one where she says she doesn't know if she likes the food or if it's just part of her programming. I loved it. I thought that was amazing and I thought Picard's answers, finally he's not putting his foot in his mouth anymore. He's finally giving answers that make sense, unlike every other episode of this series, where he's like, oh, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I could try and imagine, but I don't have any idea what it's like to feel like you. And more importantly about that conversation was the part about Data is the part I loved the most about this, because did you love Data in a way? Did he love you? Well, his ability to use emotions and to process emotions was very limited.
Yes. To expressing and in processing
Yes.
is limited. Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's how we're the same. So he's saying that he has a problem expressing and processing emotions as well. Blah, blah, blah. But I love the part where at the very end, she just looks up and goes, he loves you, and then goes back to eating.
Yeah.
And I said, I believe that's true because I believe she said it anyway, because she is clearly a part of Data, right? She's a part of his memories. So she's starting to love Jean-Luc Picard, so Data must have loved Jean-Luc Picard.
Oh, I love that. I didn't even think about that. That is awesome. I liked the scene for completely different reasons.
Okay, shoot.
I do like that. I finally feel that Picard is speaking in his Picard voice. And in part, like you said, he's not putting his foot in his mouth. But I like that Soji was able to push Picard past the list of things. Yeah, Data was this, Data was that, but like pushed him to talk about his emotions where he normally doesn't. And I think way back, see episode 1, 2, when we were on hosting together, when you were talking about how Picard didn't keep in contact and he only is reaching out to people unless he needs something. And that's evident here because he's not going to be sharing his emotions. He's not going to be cultivating these relationships. It's only when he needs something. And I like that Soji pushes that and pushes him to realize, I think, that he needs, yeah, you do love him and Data loved you.
Yeah, I like the way you put that too. And I think it also shows this is a tale of two tapes with him. Because when Elmore said, that's why you need someone, but why do you need me? He's like, you're young, I'm old, you're strong, I'm weak. Like,
yeah,
that's not really personal, bro.
Answers. Yeah.
That's exactly what you were saying a minute ago. Why?
Yep.
This doesn't make any sense. And that was during the episode I talked with Ken Tripp, and I even said it then. Yeah, I think that's why he left and said, I don't need to take this case. You know, like, I don't need to take this quest because your answers was just as bad as the first ones. However, this time when he's pushed, he gives a personal, heartfelt answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I like that he and Picard sort of starts out, you know, it's like, well, you do have a past, you do have a story, and it's yours to claim. And I just am so grateful. Like that reminds me of like my family heritage and how important that is to me and how so many people want to find out about their past and their previous generations and their family history and where did we come from. A lot of people do find comfort in knowing their history, their family history and where they are. And so to see Soji having this fake history that was downloaded to her and then for her trying to find the real and I think Picard really reminds her, you have it and you can claim it. And I think that just empowers her so much more. And I think that clicks. And that's another reason why I love this scene.
Yeah, it is a great scene. It also fixes a problem from the last episode where when she was talking to Troy, Troy says, well, you're fake, or something along the lines of being fake, right? And Troy at no point says, you're just different, real. And that drove me crazy. That didn't sound like a Starfleet answer. It didn't sound like a Troy answer to me. The answer itself to me just sounded bad. And now it's, oh yeah, you might be wires, but you're real. You do have a past. You do have a history. It may only be 3 years old, but there's stuff behind that. There's what made you come into existence 3 years ago, and so on and so forth. Just because, I mean, didn't we have a whole episode, Measure of a Man, to prove that just because he's a robot doesn't mean he's fake?
Right.
Yes. It was kind of thrown out in that line last week.
Yeah. And, so we're going off on a little tangent, but I love where, I forgot to write in my notes who it was, but Picard was talking, to the Clancy, the Admiral Clancy.
Okay. I'm going to get rid of these. They're useless.
I We don't have to jump there if you don't want to.
No, we can. I don't even know where in this. I was going to get there eventually. I know this is written. I have a lot of notes, but I can't follow anymore. So I'm just going to.
I know. I literally am going from one page to the other, but it ties in to Picard having his voice. And